Welcome back. I'm Steve Foxcroft. My guest today is Bill Kelly. Bill, but when we went to break, I mentioned social media. A hot topic. Is social media a good thing?
Uh, it's good and bad. It's like everything else, you know. You like ice cream, Steve? But if you eat too much ice cream, you know what happens, right?
Right.
Or chocolate or anything else, okay? In excess. And the problem I think we have with social media right now is the excessive use and abuse of
Mhm.
social media. I think it's wonderful. I mean, when I'm researching a TV guest or a TV show, I can go on social media, I can go on the internet, and I mean, I can read 75 newspapers and pieces of that in half an hour. I don't have to subscribe to, and get all that the paper in there. It's wonderful. I love the fact that it has given people a forum. Oftentimes, people have opinions and they are engaged in what's happening in their community or nationally, whatever the case might be. And social media certainly gives them that. The problem I have with social media, and I think we've seen the awful underbelly of social media, is there are no guardrails.
Mm.
You can say what you want. You can slander people. You can do what you want. You can try to sue them if you want, but good luck with that. That's
Mhm.
a long and expensive process. In broadcasting, there were guardrails. You can't say that. You can't touch this. There were certain courtesies that you had to extend. It's a Wild West show on social media right now, and you've seen some of those things on Twitter and on Instagram and some of the other pieces that are on there. And I think it's contributed, I think, to the negativity in society these days, and certainly the negativity in the political arena.
One of the things you're most famous for is your daily comment.
Mm.
I love it. Tell me about how you go around doing it on a daily basis, the topics you can choose from, and are there guardrails for you too?
Well, sure. I mean, when I was on the radio, there were guardrails. The Canadian Broadcast Standards Council and things of this nature there. I mean, I don't use George Carlin's seven dirty words. I get a lot of people probably don't even remember that now. But there are language things that you have to be careful of and wordage and things like this. But the commentary itself gave me the opportunity to be a little more relaxed, I guess, in the approach. I mean, you can use a lot more satire in a commentary. The problem I found with it, especially when I was doing the radio commentaries, you only hit 60 seconds. And so there's a lot more I had to say. An awful lot of the time I'd write it and left it, edit, and if now it doesn't have the same sting. On my podcast now, the Bill Kelly Show podcast, it's different. I mean, there are no limitations about time or anything else, so I can get into some of these issues. And it's kind of like a quick hit with doing the commentary. I loved it. I mean, that was always the highlight of my day. It's just to write it and to read it back and say, zinger here, and it gives you a little more opportunity to use some of the language and maybe some of the acerbic comments that you might not ordinarily do on a show, but you can put them into the commentary, and I loved it. And I'm continuing to do that on the podcast.
Getting back to your politics and your career in politics, has politics changed since you were elected?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen that clearly, haven't we? We've always said that politics was a blood sport, and it is now. Now it's a take no prisoners sport, and a lot of that has to do, to circle back with what you were saying about social media. Everybody's under the microscope 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And politicians, everybody who's in public life right now is constantly concerned about how people are viewing what they're saying, how they're digesting what they're saying, and the reaction to it. Before social media, you didn't get that immediate reaction from anybody. There might be an article the next day in the newspaper about a politician's behavior, something of that nature, maybe a letter to the editor. Within 5 seconds, boom, Twitter goes crazy about what they said, what they didn't say, and the comments section, of course, is going on and on. So they're under a microscope right now, and I can see that it's created a great deal more pressure for people in that position right now. The other side of that, which is just as negative, I think, is we'll find some elected officials that play to social media. They don't much care about whether it's good policy or bad policy. Are they getting press? Are they getting reaction? And that feeds that beast for them too. It's not necessarily good for the community or the country or whatever their representatives being elected to do. But they just see this as an audience right now, and it's the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. If used properly, it can be a fabulous tool. But there's an awful lot of people that abuse it, not use it.
We need to go to break in just a second, but quickly, you mentioned blood sport. Is that what is wrong with the politics today?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's kill or be killed. We've heard in past days about politics about sometimes agreeing to disagree or reaching across the aisle. I'm a liberal, you're a conservative, but we can work together on this. That doesn't happen anymore. They don't want to work together. They want to destroy each other. And just I'm right, you're wrong. Not only you're wrong, but you're dumb for being wrong.
Right.
It's just it's unfiltered. This is what we talked about social media itself. Politics has become so polarized these days. It's no wonder nobody's getting anything done.
Right. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Bill Kelly. You're watching Canadian Innovators.